We are live. Rock and roll, people. Welcome to the Banting, the official Banting and Keto Real Meal Revolution Facebook group. For those of you who have not participated in one of these before, I encourage you to like. We locked the group, so you can't share it, but you can like it, and I'm pretty sure you can invite your friends to join the group. So if you think there's anyone out there who would benefit from information about how to be outrageously healthy, to lose weight, and have the answers to all of these questions, I encourage you to send an invite. You can invite your friends to this group. You just click on part of the group up near the admin section and you invite them. Okay, if you're watching this from the Real Meal Revolution Facebook page, you can like and share this. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I don't think you can share it, but you can obviously share the link on WhatsApp. So get sharing, get lots of people involved, because I'm going to answer some crazy questions we get asked every single day. It's like we don't even need to know what the questions are that are going to come into the comments, because we get so many questions so often. Most of the answers to these questions are in our programs, which are paid for. But today, just this once, I'm going to be answering them live. So you've seen all the questions. They're in the comments. I'm going to mow through them. And then what I'm going to do at the end is just take you through something really cool that we do at Real Meal Revolution. A lot of the questions were about how you can be better at planning, how to track your meals, that kind of thing. And so we've got a product that I'd love to show you that makes planning and track meals and all sorts of stuff like that super easy. So tune in. But and then if you have a question that is not in the list, feel free to drop in the comments. I'll bring it up into the comments and I'll post it there. And then my trusty colleague Wendy is watching the live, and Wendy is going to be in the chat box comment section. And so if you have a question and I don't get to it, or you want the answer right now and Wendy can answer it, she's going to actually hit you with the answer. Okay. So the first question is fasting. What am I allowed while fasting, and how long should I fast for? So firstly, I think anything like after 12 hours is considered a fast. The autophagy, which is the state that your body goes into, which is the fasted state, that starts at 16 hours. So anything after 16 hours is like power. That's going to be the magic you want. So we always refer to this sort of the benchmark fast, as in like not too hectic, that like it's going to be super difficult, but not too lame that you're not going to get any results, is a 16-8. So that means you eat from noon until 8 p.m. in a day, and then you fast from 8 p.m. So you don't eat anything after 8 until the following noon. And you do that for a couple of days. I don't recommend doing it every single day in the week, because your body kind of adapts and you lose your magic. So what can you eat while you fast? There are different sort of tiers. So some people say you can drink kombucha during a fast. I say definitely not, because kombucha's got residual sugar in it, and I believe that will prevent you from going into autophagy. Then you get what you call a dirty fast. So dirty fast is when you have milk in your coffee, and then you can have a clean fast, like a straight. But obviously, milk's got lactose in it, which is a sugar, and so I think there's more sugar in kombucha than there is lactose in milk. And so that's why I say you shouldn't have kombucha, because it's basically the same as a dirty fast. But for the best results of a fast, you want to have nothing that will push your blood sugar up, and that means basically no calories or very few calories. And if you do have calories, it can be like a thin layer of fat on the top of some bone broth. But even bone broth is questionable, because really, really well made bone broth has gelatin in it. It's quite thick when it's cold. So gelatinous bone broth is, that's kind of like a meal. It's like liquid chicken bone essence. That doesn't sound very delicious, but that's what bone broth is. So my like pure clean fast is like rooibos tea, black coffee, herbal tea, sparkling water with a twist of lemon juice or apple cider vinegar, and that is it. Nothing else goes into the mouth unless you're taking a supplement. But even with the supplement, you might want to, some of them say you have that with food, so you'll wait. So the cleanest, best fast to have is 0 calories. Just remember, like, does this have a calorie in it? If you deep down inside, you know the answer. Okay, what is intermittent fasting? That's the question that was kind of answered above, but intermittent fasting is when you fast intermittently. So it's not like the 30 days and 30 nights fast, or like the Ramadan fast, which is sort of only, I mean, Ramadan fast is actually pretty effective. A lot of Muslim people I know have come off reduced their diabetes medication while fasting. Technically, that would be an intermittent fast, because in some cases, if it's in summer, it would be, 14 hours, even 16 hours on and 8 hours off, because you're only eating when it's dark. But it's an irregular fast. I think that's the thing. So stoppy-starty fast. That is what an intermittent fast is. The technical term for stoppy-starty. Okay, how do I maintain my weight loss once I've reached my goal? This is the golden question. So I believe that you can only maintain weight loss once you've reached goal if you've done internal work. So willpower, determination, desire, a specific event, a specific person, level of accountability, I think that can all get you to goal weight. I know a lot of people who've reached goal just because they were like determined, but a completely different type of work is required to make it last. And I don't even think, I mean, accountability and all of those things help, but I think the focus needs to shift from getting to a goal to living differently. And that comes to identity. So at the core of it, I mean, there's so much to it. It's a lot of the stuff we deal with in the emotional eating online course and previously in the eating psychology transformation program at Real Meal. But the telltale sign of whether or not someone's going to last forever, like create lasting change, is if you listen to the words they use to describe their transformation. And if you can hear that inside they still believe that they're an overweight person, that comes out. And if they believe deep down inside that they're a thin person, that comes out too. And I'll give you an example. So if you say to someone, oh wow, like I can see you really looking good because they've lost a lot of weight, and their response is like, yeah, I'm starving and I'm like dying of exercise, that's someone who's still in an overweight person's psychology, seeing this whole thing as like a massive mission, a pain in the ass, because it seems outside of their identity. It seems out of alignment with who they are. Now, as soon as someone's performing actions that are out of alignment with who they are, they won't sustain. Whereas if you say, wow, like you're looking really good, what are you doing? And someone's, yeah, geez, I'm just like loving exercising, eating healthy. I feel good. I'm really, I can't even remember being that person. That's someone who is now being who they are. So they've adapted to this new behavior. It's integrated with who they are, and they don't see any fear in themselves sliding back, because they've actually just become the kind of person who does exercise and eats well. So that is a shift in identity, and that is what creates lasting change. So if you are on the journey and you are losing weight, or you want to lose weight, that is something that is 100% necessary to consider for when you reach the end, or while you're getting there, so that when you reach the finish line, you don't start walking. Because the first thing we do when we hit goal, we have this thing called goal liberation. It's goal liberation, which is a psychological term where your prefrontal cortex is so focused on reaching a goal that when you hit the goal, the prefrontal cortex goes, okay, I can take a break. And then your instinct, the instinct part of your brain, like the flight or fight part of your brain, kicks in. And they call it goal liberation, is because somehow your brain liberates that part of itself from needing to put in effort, and allows the other parts of your brain to then pursue the goals that they wanted to pursue. And so that's why often people lose weight, and no matter how hard they try, once they got the weight off, they just keep sabotaging themselves. So self-sabotage is actually part of goal liberation. Okay, so that's enough on how to maintain weight loss. If you're interested, you can check out the emotional eating online short course. You just go to our website, realmealrevolution.com, and click on the link. Wendy will drop the link in the chat. You can check it out. Do you have to be in ketosis in order to lose weight? I love this question. So a lot of people who are on our program, they will monitor their ketones religiously, and they say, I'm in ketosis and I'm not losing weight. What's happening? Oh my gosh. And then the other people will be losing weight ferociously. So you'll get someone who's losing like 2 kilos a week, which is outstanding, or even 1 kilo a week is remarkable. 500 grams a week consistently is fantastic. That's in a year, that's 25 kilograms. No one's going to complain about that. And so you'll be losing weight and everything's going well, but your ketones, you're not in ketosis. And people are like, why am I not in ketosis? What's wrong? Is it broken? And that's the point, is you don't need to be in ketosis to lose weight. And being in ketosis doesn't necessarily mean you will lose weight. And I'll give an example. If you're eating 3,000 calories a day of fat, and your body only really needs like 1,200 or 1,400 calories. And I'm just talking about calories as an example. You can think about it as amount of food. I know the whole calorie thing doesn't like always match up. But if you're eating too much fat and you're not having any carbohydrates and you're having like an average amount of protein, you could still be in ketosis. But because you're eating so much fat, your body is actually choosing to use the dietary fat for fuel instead of using your body's fat for fuel. So some people can be in ketosis and not lose weight at all. And some people go keto and actually put on weight. So it's something to consider. You don't want to be like pouring fat all over your food, doing like if you go on to Instagram and you look at these keto guys, they have like cheese wrapped in grilled cheese wafers covered in cheese sauce with salami, pepperoni, and then they have like 5 of those and they're like nom 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 nom. That's like terrible. It's not going to make, maybe it's keto. That's certainly not how we do it. We do it with real whole foods, and it also looks gross, to be honest. It's my opinion. So easy on the fat, because you want to let your body burn its reserves, and that answers the question about ketosis. You don't have to be in ketosis. Is it okay to follow keto in the long term? So I'm not the scientist, but it is okay as far as I know. I know that if you go and you look at vertahealth.com, they reverse diabetes clinically under the supervision of doctors, and they've got a running trial. And so I think their trial's been going for 5 years now. And they have people who reversed their diabetes 5 years ago doing keto, and they are still on a ketogenic diet. Now, the point here is that if you are type 2 diabetic and you reverse diabetes and you go back onto carbohydrates, what can happen is you can actually end up going out of remission. In other words, causing diabetes. So that was the one trial that the Noakes Foundation did. They didn't want to prove that you could reverse diabetes. They wanted to prove that carbohydrates cause diabetes. And so in order to do that, they had to get people into remission and then make them diabetic again by giving them carbohydrates. And so, yeah, if you're diabetic, it's a big deal. I do know a lot of people who have gone low carb to lose the weight. They've dealt with their food issues. They've done the emotional side. They've done all the work, and it turned out they weren't actually super insulin resistant. And whether you're insulin resistant or not, ketosis is going to take away your appetite. It's going to make it easy for you to lose weight. And so some of these people have reintegrated carbohydrates back into their life. They are doing a bit more exercise, so they're burning off a lot of the glycogen. They've maybe made themselves slightly more insulin sensitive by being in ketosis for a period of time. And so they're not like strict keto anymore, but they're gluten-free, low sugar, that kind of thing. So not everybody has to be keto all the time and forever. I'm not keto all the time and forever. I do a ton of exercise. I've never managed to fat adapt myself for an endurance event. I just go so flat and it takes forever for me. So I have like moderate carbohydrate diet. I'm gluten-free. Obviously don't drink much alcohol at all. And so that's how I stay lean and healthy. But I do eat carbohydrates, so just stay away from the old white bread and the cupcakes and all the naughty ones. The Cook Sister, by the way, is the most red-listed item you'll ever get. Okay. How do I maintain it? Will this way of eating balance hormones? So it's slightly above my pay grade. As far as I know, insulin is a hormone. So in that regard, yes, it will keep your insulin under control. There's some stuff that Bridget writes about hormones on our website at realmealrevolution.com. You just go search in the blog, which is under the resources page. But it does regulate hormones to a degree. But I wouldn't say this is a replacement for HRT during menopause, anything like that. But it does tend to make your hormones sort of level out a little bit, but that's purely anecdotal, not citing a study here at all. Okay, the next question I can talk a lot about. How will this way of eating affect my sports performance. So here's the thing. If you speak to Chris Webster, who was a researcher at the Noakes Foundation, is actually Victoria's brother, which is how I think we met Victoria, who's our psychologist. Chris Webster, he says that the best way to perform at your best is to be as healthy as humanly possible. So high performance diets are the diets that make you the healthiest. So for me, the ketogenic diet is not a high performance diet because I just can't perform on it. But for many people, especially those who are carrying around a lot of weight, losing 30 kilograms is going to make you a high performance athlete. And some others who, I know that Bruce Fordyce and Prof. Noakes, especially a lot of like older men, in fact, a lot of younger men as well, although I must say the older they get, the better they seem to perform on the ketogenic diet. It does serve as a high performance diet. But just remember, whatever diet is healthiest for you is the diet that's going to make you perform best. Within reason, you do get like there is a graph, because obviously if you are doing the Tour de France, like performing better isn't necessarily going to be the performing at the best maybe won't be the healthiest thing for your body. Firstly, I don't think it's healthy to do that much exercise in a day in the long term. And then you probably need to have like really highly concentrated fuels very regularly, and that might cause a bit of inflammation and that kind of thing. But when it comes down to the weekend warrior, which I believe most of us are, so maybe the fastest half marathon some of us are running is like a 1:20. The majority of people on earth could probably do a half marathon at like 3 hours. Anywhere in that range, I say that performing your best will happen when you are performing at your healthiest. And healthiest means probably, like under 20% body fat. Your blood's all right. You've got good gut health. You're sleeping well, and you don't have that much stress. So you can concentrate with your mind, and your body is rested and pumped, and you can exercise. So that's my take on high performance. High performance for me means well rested, low stress, and then obviously fit and lean. That's how I perform at my best. But clear mind. You'll be surprised how much your mind can get in the way of you, even on a casual run in the afternoon. Alrighty. Can I exercise while following a ketogenic diet? You totally can. A lot of people go through a brief period of flatness. So when you go ketogenic, the first thing that happens is you deplete all of your glycogen stores. So for those of you who don't know, when you eat carbohydrates, your body stores those carbs essentially, or in the form of glycogen in your muscles. And so what happens is when you go low carb, you slowly deplete all of that storage. And before you start burning ketos, you go through this period where you have like no fuel. And so you get tired and you get headaches and you have cravings. Your body's like, get the carbs. And so when you're having those cravings, you feel flat. It's very difficult to train. And then eventually your body's like, okay, we're not getting any carbohydrates. We better fire up the coal engine and get some fat burning here. And then you start burning fat, and that's your fuel because it gets converted into ketones, etc. But that without exercise is unpleasant. Doing that while you're exercising is probably torture. I mean, I've tried to do it. It's hell. Like I nearly died when I was doing swimming training for Mozambique. I tried to do it, and it was like I nearly died. And then what happens is sometimes people go through a period of 3 to 6 months of feeling flat and lazy. Now that is a long time to invest in feeling crap, with the chance that you might perform better when you are ketogenic. So I say, like, if within a month you're not feeling amazing, unless your doctor or unless you have to be keto for type 2 diabetes, or because you're trying to lose a lot of weight, I would advise you not to. Like if you're already fit and you're lean, then I would say don't go keto, because if you're fit and you're lean, then you're fine. But if you're overweight and you're trying to lose weight, the chances are you'll be bursting with energy and it'll be easier for you to exercise in keto. I think that's the key. If you are lean already, don't bother. If you are trying to lose weight and you are overweight, then it would probably work better for you. Does booze affect weight loss and throw me out of ketosis? Flip, that's a great question. So booze, okay, so this is the thing. When you are in ketosis, you are burning ketones. Now, ketones get made when fat leaves your fat cells It goes into your bloodstream and it goes to the liver. And the liver is the engine. This is like your refinery, because your liver takes oil and turns it into fuel. So this is like moss gas. Okay. It takes the fat out of your blood and it turns it into ketones. So we're looking at the refinery here. Now, when you drink alcohol, you're punching yourself in the liver. So sometimes you might stay in ketosis, but just remember that you like your strongest player on the team, MVP here, is the liver, because the liver's doing the work to fuel your body. So when you drink alcohol, you're just kind of like punching the captain in the face. Okay, so that's my analogy for drinking and being in ketosis. The other thing is, when you are in ketosis, you get a beast of a hangover from drinking alcohol. There was one other thing I wanted to say about this. Oh, and then booze also makes you make really bad decisions. So it like gives a proper go at the prefrontal cortex. So if you do go out, it's going to be harder for you to make the right decision. And when you have that beast keto hangover the next day, I promise you there's going to be an Eggs Benedict with an English muffin singing sweet nothings to you, like pulling you into the restaurant to go and have a dirty breakfast. Okay. But having said that, you can still drink heavily and lose weight. Now, I'm not saying you should drink heavily and lose weight, but I have people very, very close to me who have lost a lot of weight and drink heavily. So lots and lots of white wine, and they still manage to lose weight miraculously. So I'm not proud of that, but that is the truth. Okay. Socializing is a real struggle. How do I stick to my diet while socializing? So many great tips here. There's actually a lecture, if you go into the history on the Facebook group and on our Facebook page, you'll find a lecture with Victoria where she talks about that. It would be close to Christmas last year. There's a whole lot of stuff you can do. I think the key really is to start getting uncomfortable and owning your journey. That's the most important thing. You have to be honest with people and say, look, I'm trying to lose weight. And you can be honest, or you can lie. You can say you're allergic to stuff, which helps. I've lied before, just said, no, it's like I'm allergic. When I quit drinking, people were like deeply offended. How can you not drink? You're going to be so boring. And so I just said, yeah, no, I got like this thing and I react to it badly and I get hangovers for like 2 days. I don't know what's going on. So I was almost like apologetic, like it was a medical condition. But actually I was like worried I was an alcoholic. And so you can lie, and when you feel ready to not lie anymore, and by the way, like, this sounds dodgy, like, how can you lie? Just lie. It's your health. It's more important than make people happy. And then the goal is to get to a point where you don't have to lie, obviously, and the sooner you get there, the better. But be courageous and just own it and just say, I can't eat that. And the reason you want to say that is because once you've said that, you can actually get involved and get other people involved. So the easiest thing to do is arrive at someone's house and they've made the food that suits you already. So these days, with everyone being gluten and dairy and sugar and this and that, a lot more people are paying attention to dietary guidelines. So when there's a dinner invite and there's vegan and plant-based and pescatarian, vegetarian, over lacto, all the things. So the whole like what are your dietary preferences question is becoming more popular. But the key, there's some cheats. So the first thing is eat before you go if you're worried there's going to be crap on the menu. The other is check the menu in advance and decide what you're going to order, and then tell your partner what you're going to order. So when you're sitting at the table, your partner can even order for you, so that pressure is taken off you. And then the other thing is, if you're going to someone's house and you know that they're going to make something dumb, or that they're not going to be serving stuff that suits you, you can actually offer. So say like, look, can I bring a veg dish, or I'll bring the meat or whatever. So you know that they're not going to put crap in the stuffing, or serve like a lasagna. When I ran the wild run last year, I do very well gluten-free vegetarian before a big race, because I find it super easy to digest, and the gluten obviously like messes with my stomach. So I asked them specifically for a gluten-free vegetarian dish. In fact, gluten-free vegan the night before, and they made me a chicken lasagna. That was the gluten-free vegetarian dish in the Eastern Cape. Just in case you know, be careful in the Eastern Cape. They're not there. That was in Morgan Bay. Okay, shame, at a little lodge. They just had no idea. Okay, socializing is a real struggle. How to stick my diet? Can I follow keto with my kids? I don't think it's necessary to do keto with your kids, and more importantly than that, there's an emotional issue at play here. Now, when we wrote Raising Superheroes, this blue book, we didn't write anything about feelings. We were very academic and biological. And I've spoken to psychologists about the physical addiction that sugar causes, even though they are like very, very clever and everything. There is a biological component. It kind of like short circuits the reward center in the brain, and that needs to be considered. But the other side of it is that a lot of the clients who come to Real Meal have had traumatic experiences being put on diets when they were 9, 10. I know someone in my family was put on her first diet when she was 6. And that leaves a mark, because what you hear when you get put on a diet when you're 6, or put on any special program when you're 6, is that there's something wrong with you, that you're broken in some way, or that you're not good enough the way you are. And then the other thing that happens is, even if you don't get put on a diet, but you get told like, these foods, you are not allowed these foods, and then you sit and you watch your other friends having the foods, it causes this deprivation. You can't help feeling deprived. And then if you restrict your kids, they notice that. So if you deprive them, restrict them, or put them on a program, those are like the 3 no-nos. You don't want to do that, because that'll cause all kinds of psychological trauma later on in life. And then they'll eat to spite you, even though they're cutting their nose off to spite their face, which is stuff that we do all the time. Like, my dad said, you're not allowed to drink alcohol. And what did I do? I was like, fuck you, Dad. I'm going to drink all the booze I like. So that's just the nature of human beings. So you want to be aware that your child is a human being, and they have a normal psychology, and whatever you do is going to affect that. But on the other side, like, how do you control it? So I'll tell you what we do in our family. So we control the environment. So we accept that when they go to parties, they're going to have, we had a kids party, and one of the parents said, no, my child doesn't eat gluten or sugar. And we were like, shame, this child's going to go and come to a kids party, and they're not going to have any gluten and sugar. So that's the first thing, is when we have a kids party, the kids party is a kids party. It might look like a drug dealer's den for children, because there's sweets and cake and everything. We don't deprive them of that. And when they go to other kids' parties, we don't even say anything to them. They come back high on sugar, irritable or whatever, and we say, oh, hey, that sugar's burning away in there. And a little tease, family joke. But in general, we eat healthy. So we have a gluten-free, sugar-free family life, our Monday to Friday thing. If we go to a restaurant and they want like an ice cream waffle, we'll buy them an ice cream waffle. But their normal day-to-day environment doesn't have... they don't see a lot of sugar, they're not exposed to it a lot, and so they eat how we eat. And we made the mistake. We went through like a chicken nugget and chips period in the beginning, and there's a long story behind that. But now we're just getting them to eat what we eat, and so we eat real whole foods, they eat real whole foods, but we're not necessarily banting them, if that makes sense. Can I follow the diet when pregnant or breastfeeding? Okay, breastfeeding, there are 2 reasons. There's a medical reason, and I don't know what it is. I just know that I read there was a study where there is risk during breastfeeding. But I know that in our family, Kate tried to do it and had supply issues, so low carb. And then I've heard that from many other people who have tried keto. And because obviously when you have the baby, you want to lose the weight as fast as possible. Now, when you are breastfeeding, I don't know if it's to do with the whole process of breastfeeding. I don't know the biology here, but a lot of people just lose weight naturally while they're breastfeeding. However, if you are breastfeeding, it is not advisable to go keto unless you don't have a supply issue, and that other medical thing I mentioned doesn't apply. But I know the main thing was the supply issue. And when you can't feed your child, that's a big deal. So you should do whatever you need to do to feed the child. Be overweight for another year or whatever if you need to. The child's nutrition and health and mental health is important, and restricting that, depriving the child, is going to cause damage. While you're pregnant, I know that Dr. Robert Sivas, his wife was keto the whole time she was pregnant, and I'm pretty sure she's keto while she's breastfeeding. So go check out carbaddictiondoc.com and then carbaddictiondoc on YouTube, and he's got loads of information about that. Does keto help with chronic inflammation? Yes. How do I know my reference body weight? How do I work out my macros? What is the approach to eating, and what is the approach to eating to my macros? Can I just use the food list? Okay, so there are a few different ways that you can follow a strict ketogenic diet. Now, the first is to use the food lists, these guys. This is the simplest way to do it. And this is why I think Real Meal Revolution was so successful, the book. Because in any animal kingdom, no one is tracking their meals. No one is being told what to eat. You're just eating the foods that you are designed to eat, okay? And so what the food lists do is they say, like, these are the foods you are designed to eat. These also sort of, but these not so much. If you eat lots of these, you're going to get really unhealthy. And if you eat these all the time, you're going to be okay. And so the easiest way to band is to look at your normal diet, what you're eating, your veg, meat, two, one starch, 2 veg, and 1 meat. And then to just cut the starch out and make sure you're eating vegetables from this green list and proteins. And then follow the guidelines on the orange list where it says, 2 portions of orange food a day and then no red. And the chances are, if you do that, you are going to lose weight and go into ketosis. That's how the lists were designed. Now, if you have no idea what a week in keto looks like, and that feels a bit like punching in the dark, then I would recommend doing one of 2 things. So the one is to use a meal tracker, and that is just to eat whatever you're eating and then watch the carb count in your foods, because you want to be under 50 grams of carbohydrates a day. The other option is to follow a meal plan. Super simple. You just get told what to do. Like, eat this food, I will eat that food. And that'll help too. The only difference is that I think that all of us, if we want to master healthy eating, that's the only way that you're going to create sustained weight loss, is if you master the skill of healthy eating. And so we should all look to be in a situation where we don't have to track our meals and we don't have to follow a meal plan. So the end goal is to just know enough about food and know enough about your body to carry on. If you find yourself following the rules really strictly, then you're still kind of at the mercy of some set of rules. And the whole idea is that you learn the rules, bend the rules, and then become the rules so that they become second nature to you, and then it's automatic. Okay. So I wanted to share something with you. We have this, I'm going to share this link to the free trial, because we have this web app. It's 200 Rand or 11 pounds or $14 a month. And what we do, because a lot of the other questions were about tracking your macros. So the macros that people talk about in keto are the ratio of carbohydrates, fat, and protein that you should be eating, because you burn your body's own fat, but you can't fuel yourself entirely on your own fat. Or you can, I guess, but sometimes you need a little bit of extra fat for fuel. So we have this, and for every single different body type and height, weight, and age, we have this different ratio that we need to stick to of carbs, protein, and fat. So I want to show you how to actually work that out. And let me just share my screen quickly. Okay, so Wendy's going to pop a link, and she's going to stick it in the chat so that you can go and get it. This is in fact, I can stick it in the chat because it's right here. So that you get a 7-day free trial. So what you can do if you are keen is you can take the free trial and then you can cancel after 7 days, and you can go and get your meal plan and your recipes for free. Obviously, we would want you to stay around. We've just put in a 24-week online course that'll guide you through 24 weeks of amazing content. You'll learn all kinds of stuff about transformation. So this is the sign up page. And then I just wanted to show you a few pieces of very useful stuff about this online course. So what you can do is you can go and you can fill in a health survey. So calculate macros. And this is what a lot of people really want to know. So I don't know if you can see this. Let's go in here. Okay, so date of birth, someone was born in 84, male. Let's just say hypothetically a woman who was born in, 84, that's my age. Metric, medium frame, light activity, so not that much exercise. Let's just say she's 170. I think 174 is like bang on average. Current weight 100, or even 120. Heaviest ever is 120. Waist, okay, cool. No medical conditions. Upload profile. This will happen as you sign up. Okay, I'm done. Now, what's going to happen is I'm going to get a set of macros. So the first thing that happens when you sign up is you get access to this online course, which is a 7-day, we call it the Kickstart. And what you're going to get in here is a whole lot of videos that are going to teach you how to band. So it's basically a 7-day challenge to like get you revved up and ready to rock and roll during your free trial. But what you can do now is you can go to your meal plans page, and what you'll see at the top is that there is a ratio here of carbs, protein, and fat. So this person's ideal ratio with all of those metrics that I put in is 120 grams of fat, 99 grams of protein, and 50 grams of carbohydrate. And then what you can do is you can go and select a meal plan. So simple keto, dairy free. Let's go check it out, or let's just follow it. So we go follow this meal plan, yeah, for this week. And then you wait a little millisecond. And this meal plan is now added to my dashboard. And if I go scroll down, I can see what my next meal is for the day. And what this system does is it takes your ratio and it actually programs it into the meal plan. So the meal plan and the shopping list is going to tell you exactly what your macros, it's going to give you the right amount of food to suit your macros. So you can print the shopping list here and the meal plan and download it. So let me show you what that looks like. Here's the meal plan. You can download it into an easy printable format. There's the information. It's got you've got links to recipes in it. So you can either print the recipes as a PDF. Ta-da! There's the recipe for bone broth. And you can also go see there's the shopping list there. So that took me, I think, like a minute. So if you want to get a meal plan for keto in like a minute, all you do is you take the free trial, and you go as you sign up, you'll fill in your macros. You go off to the meal plan page, choose a meal plan, and off you go. Now, there are also just a whole lot of recipes in here. So let me just zoom out a bit so you can see more recipes. I've just put in beef, and you can see like these are all recipes from my cookbooks. They're amazing. This is not difficult food to eat. This is delicious stuff. And we've got different kinds for summer, for winter, for gourmet, hearty, for gut health, etc. And then the last thing I wanted to show you is the meal tracker. So how to track your meals. You can use MyFitnessPal or Fat Secret. The beauty of using our meal tracker is that it's actually got recipes from the Real Meal Revolution universe in them. So for instance, not many people make this because it's quite a difficult recipe. But if you wanted to serve yourself eggs baconaise, you could go and have 1 serving of eggs baconaise, which is like my favorite recipe in my book. It's bacon, hollandaise made with bacon. And there you see it tells you how many carbs, how much protein, and how much fat you've had for the day. You've overdone it on the fat. You should basically not eat anything until like 2 days' time. But let's just say, for instance, we wanted to have hard-boiled egg, and you wanted to have large. So you wanted 3 large hard-boiled eggs. And there you can see that's what my macros are from that meal. So here now I'm tracking. Let me just zoom in. Now I've got my macros for the day are 2 grams of carbs, 19 grams of protein, 16 grams of fat. And those are my targets for the day. And then you can see that's the food I've got left. So that's just one of the very useful things that using the RMR meal tracker can do. Okay, so if you are keen on doing that, go hit that link, take the free trial, enjoy the course, and enjoy your first week of keto. If you have any other questions, hit them into the comment section. And what we'll do is we'll come in from time to time, check those questions, and we'll answer them in the chat. Okay, peeps, thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that Q&A. Have a lovely Tuesday evening, and we'll see you soon. And if you get stuck, bang an email off to support@realmealrevolution.com. Bye.